You're scrolling through endless TV options, wondering if that massive 75-inch screen is really going to upgrade your living room or just sit there as an expensive piece of core. I get it, dropping the price of a flagship model on a credit card feels risky, especially when you've seen a lot of hype but not a lot of everyday proof. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. So let's cut through the marketing noise and see if the Samsung 75-inch Neo QLED 8K really lives up to the price tag for someone who actually watches movies, streams series, and maybe throws a few games into the mix. First off, the biggest question people ask is whether an 8K panel is worth it right now. The short answer: only if you care about future-proofing and you have content that can actually use that resolution. Most streaming services still max out at 4K, and most broadcast TV is still 1080p. What the Neo QLED does is use a mini LED backlight and a Quantum Matrix Pro algorithm to pack a lot more local dimming zones than a regular LCD. In practice, that translates to deeper blacks and brighter highlights on HDR scenes, even if the source material is only 4K. I tested a couple of 4K Blu-ray movies on the TV, and the extra peak brightness made nighttime cityscapes pop without the halo effect you sometimes see on older Samsung panels. If you're a gamer, the Samsung Gaming Hub and low input lag mode are the parts that will actually matter. Plugging my PlayStation 5 into the HDMI 2.1 port and enabling the game mode gave me an input lag that felt indistinguishable from a dedicated gaming monitor. The TV also supports variable refresh rate, so when a frame drops you notice less stutter. The real win, however, is the Object Tracking Sound Pro combined with Dolby Atmos. In a dark room, the sound seemed to follow the on-screen action, which is something you rarely get from a built-in speaker system. If you already have a soundbar, you can still enable Q Symphony 3.0 and let the TV speakers augment the bar for a more immersive feel. Now, let's talk about the practical side of setting this beast up. The infinity screen design means the bezel is almost non-existent, which looks sleek, but it also means the TV leans a bit forward because there's no thick frame to hold it back. I needed a wall mount that could handle the weight and also give enough tilt for my couch viewing angle. The One Connect box is a nice workaround for cable clutter. It houses all the ports and connects to the TV with a single, thin cable. The downside is that you have to keep the One Connect box close enough to the TV, which can be a hassle if you're trying to hide it in a cabinet. Everyday usability is surprisingly straightforward. Samsung's Tizen interface feels snappy thanks to the Neural Quantum Processor 8K, which learns your habits and preloads the apps you use most. I spend most of my time in Netflix, Disney+, and YouTube, and the apps launch in less than a second. The built-in Alexa works well for voice commands, but it's not as robust as a dedicated Echo device. Simple power on, off, volume, and content search are reliable, while more complex routines sometimes lag. If you're already deep into the Samsung ecosystem, phones, tablets, SmartThings, the integration feels natural. Otherwise, you might find yourself reaching for the remote more often. Who should actually buy this TV? If you're a cinephile with a home theater setup, love the idea of a screen that can handle 8K content when it finally becomes mainstream, and want a future-proof display that will still look impressive in 5 years, this model checks the boxes. It also suits gamers who need high refresh rates, low lag, and a large canvas for immersive play. Families that watch a lot of HDR movies will appreciate the brighter highlights and deeper blacks, especially in a dimly lit room. Basically, anyone who values visual fidelity and is willing to invest in a good mounting solution and possibly a decent external audio system will get value here. On the flip side, if you're mostly watching standard definition TV, live sports on cable, or you don't have a dedicated viewing space that can accommodate a 75-inch screen, you might be better off with a smaller 4K TV that's cheaper and still looks great. The 8K resolution won't make a noticeable difference on most current content, so you could be paying a premium for a feature you won't use. Also, the price point is still high. If you're on a tight budget, the Neo QLED's advantages could be overkill. And while the built-in speakers are impressive for a TV, they still can't replace a true surround sound system if you're after theater-grade audio. A hidden trade-off worth mentioning is power consumption. The Neo QLED's peak brightness is fantastic, but it draws more electricity at those levels. If you binge-watch with the TV set to bright mode all night, you'll see a higher energy bill than with a standard 4K LED.